Alright folks, welcome back to what may or may not be my 1,000 subscriber special. Let's play Final Fantasy X, my favorite RPG pretty much, more or less, of all time. It's debatable. My favorite RPG changes with my mood, but this one definitely has my favorite ending of all time, so I'm looking forward to the ending, even if it's a long way away. So we're in the city, but the city's been destroyed, more or less, and we're chasing Orin around because he seems to know what he's doing. Even though he's dressed as some kind of samurai. I'm not laughing, I'm just here.
We're expected.
Huh?
Hmm?
Give me a break, man.
Could you be a little less, you know, weird, mysterious? I mean, are there things you could be telling me that would help? Oh, great, more of these. Where's everybody else in the city? Are they all gone? Didn't seem to take long. Oh, we got our health back. That's nice. A new one took its place. Let's kill that one too. Got another new one takes its place. Wings start to flicker. When that happens, you want to hit them, the one whose wings are flickering, before it can attack. Because it does a more powerful attack than usual. It's not really anything to get too excited about, but I mean, it is the strategy that you're supposed to be using.
This could be bad.
An infinite number of enemies? Yeah, could be.
That! Knock it down!
What?
Trust me, you'll see.
Okay. Don't got a lot of other choice in the matter. There's a tanker, but we probably want to hit this guy first. I'm gonna get the tanker. Now wings start flickering again. But I want Orin to hit the tanker because I think he hits harder, and I'll let Tidus, you know who, whack this thing. All it does is the spine's attack we saw before. It just does more damage than these regular attacks. Maybe I'll let one of them get it off just so you can see. Get it off. Because I guess, yeah, it does vaguely look like it's... Yeah, see, 73 instead of 30-something. I never watched 30-something, although now I'd be in the target audience. Well, the target audience was people who were 30-something when the show was on, so I guess I'm never going to be in the target audience, but... There we go, that appears to have done something. That thing falls over and explodes, which wrecks the Ject building. The building with, like, Supreme Dictator, you know, Axl Rose with dark hair has just collapsed. Dark-haired Axl.
Go.
Fake blood. Oh, you want me to go? I mean, oh, you want my son to go? Alright. So Tidus is Axl Jr. You should talk like this with an even higher voice. So Orin just instructed us to... Orin basically orchestrated this bridge we were on exploding. Hey, we just gone over to fully CGI'd. What? Minor sound issues I'm hearing here, I believe. And, oh, Cthulhu's here, that's nice. Or fake Cthulhu from the Trilby games, I forget what it was called, but it was kind of a jerk. Man, I don't want the sound to mess up during this cinemas.
This is it.
Tonight's the night. No more rehearsing and nursing our parts.
This is your story.
This is it. This is it. It's a pretty dramatic moment. I shouldn't be making fun of it.
It all begins here.
Oops, my face just got sucked up. Gotta go. You know, people make fun of Tidus for being a spaz, but I think I would have been pretty weirded out by this too. I don't know if I would have gone, "Ah!" but I probably would have been weirded out.
Hey.
What?
Hey!
What? Hey, it's for horses checked.
My old man?
Oh man, take a look at my life. Oh, I'm not going down. Not while I'm in the middle of thinking about my old man. That's just weird. Anyway, there's a swimming around in space sequence. You can't really do anything except go to the location they want you to go. It's a classic Final Fantasy. There's really only one path, but we're going to make you navigate it anyway situation. The weird flaming floating logo in front of us, I don't know if you had a good chance to see it yet, but that is the pattern that is shaved into the chest hair of your dad, which is bizarre and Freudian and just kind of wrong. Oh, it looks like we're supposed to be going this way anyway. So there's our dad. He's just kind of hanging out. Seems pretty nonplussed by the destruction of the city. But he disappears when we get close to him, where he turns into a little kid.
I thought about a lot of things.
I thought about improving my swimming
where
stroke.
I was, what I got myself into.
If you didn't get yourself into anything.
Lightheaded. And then sleepy.
Sleep!
I think I had a dream.
I had an awesome dream.
Of being alone. I wanted someone, anyone, beside me.
So you had a
I
nightmare
didn't
of
have to
being
feel alone anymore.
I was even willing to be with Charles Nelson Riley. You don't have to be alone anymore. And your city's been destroyed, so now I guess this is the remnants of the city. I mean, there's water. And a bird.
Anybody there? Aaron! Hey!
Hey! Ooh, they're in Count Dracula's castle. Maybe a Belmont can help you. Or Nathan, Rad Lad. Not Spencer. Hey, I can swim underwater. You don't drown, which is just as well. Okay, so you can see there's a map in the top left that you can kind of sort of use to navigate. It looked like there was something up here from our vantage point before. There was something kind of bright colored-y and... What is it? What is this? Come on, I want to examine it. How can I not examine it? Well, we managed to pick the English language menu, which is just fine by me. It's alright by me. However, we can't examine this thing, which is bothering me because I know that we're supposed to be able to. Oh, okay, I was hitting the wrong button.
What do we have here? Nope. Can't read it.
It says, Watashi wa jitensha wa chisai desu. Something is written here. A bunch of gibberish. Gibberish. Macalania. More gibberish. Gibberish. If this was my second playthrough, I would have found secret stuff during the game that would allow us to read that. But it's not my second playthrough, at least not on this international version. So we're SOL, which in the secret language we're reading here would be something else entirely. We will come across this language in the future. It's not really a language. It's just something where the game designers... It's like a code, basically. They took letters and substitute other letters for them. So, like... It's not a true language. The language would have its own grammar and different nouns, and this is just like the word for fish is going to be a different four-letter word. Introduction to Albed. Find Albed primers to help you decipher the strange Albed language. Blah 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 blah. And they're checking my memory card. Oh. Oops. We cheated a bit. It actually found, it's actually loaded up the Albed primers that I've discovered earlier in the game, or later in this memory card, when I played ahead to level up. We obtained potion ×2. That means we have 12 potions and 3 Phoenix Downs, because apparently they were not Orans, which is nice. We get to use them. So let's go over and see if we can read any more of that, now that we've actually sort of accidentally cheated a little bit here. Nothing is written here. Ah, okay. As you can see, we figured out I, H, E, D, couple of letters. In the something, there, something, something, might, something, the, something, something. Something Macalania, I don't know why that starts out translated. Behind the something 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 more. Yep. I bet when we get all the Albed primers, we're gonna find out that the Jones or Smith, whichever one is not the hero of Codename Viper. I forget if it's Smith or Jones who's the general, but that guy, it turns out he's the one who's actually running the drugs out of his mansion in California. That's what we're going to find out once we've got all the Albed primers. Be careful with this. So we might as well save our game, because at this point, if something's messed up, I'm probably messed up on the first video too, and we'll have to start the whole LP over anyway. And we walk along on this path. What could possibly go wrong? You are not allowed to fall off the path. In Final Fantasy X2, you'd be allowed to jump across there. But in Final Fantasy X2, you spend most of the game playing as Yuna. And Yuna is apparently better at skipping around than Tidus is. Across, yeah, in Final Fantasy X2 it gets ridiculous. Yuna will be skipping across things where, if she were to misstep, she would plunge to her death, but she'll casually hop back and forth several times over just to grab, like, one potion. Clearly she's more athletic than Tidus, who is a professional sports athlete, while Yuna is basically a cute girl. Well, she's more than that, I'm sure, but... Oh, somebody farted. Very lucky that rock didn't hit him. That would have been KO, even for Tidus. Well, Tidus appears to have the ability to breathe, breathe underwater, more or less. Okay, so we can go underwater, but it doesn't really help anything. We don't have a map at the moment. Doesn't matter. All we gotta do is swim until we trigger a cinema. And we've got a super awesome battle with Sahagins. Sahagins show up in Final Fantasy 13, a game I kind of had a love-hate relationship with. I loved it because I hadn't played a Final Fantasy game in so long by the time I got to play that game, and I hated it because, well, it's as guilty as this game of being super linear and giving you no freedom, but I didn't like the story and characters as much. It had Sahagins. As far as I can make out, Sahagins are a recurring Final Fantasy thing. I think that's what Kaizokus from the first game are really supposed to be. It was like a translation thing. I'm not sure. Either way, he's like, yeah, you might not be too bad. Maybe we should be friends, says the Sahagin. You killed these two guys. I really didn't like them. I'm sure you couldn't tell that, but before we can go any further, more plot happens. See, this guy looks like he might be a friend. Okay, he just killed it. He didn't even eat it. He just like bit into it to kill it, then spit it out. He's a murderous vegetarian. Here's an actual underwater boss fight. At least this is the boss music that's playing. Now you'll notice something strange. It might not be that easy to tell with the monster, but you should be able to tell with Tidus. We're facing away from each other. Shady Knights explained it in his LP, which is not complete, but I was quite enjoying. One of the reasons I'm working on this one. So I'm pretty sure that it's not just me who has this problem. This is apparently an imperfection. The emulator is pretty darn good, but it's not quite able to handle this. Something's going wrong here. Only happens in the underwater boss fight. There are not many underwater boss fights in the game. There are a few, and it's incredibly goofy. But it's not enough to make me play it on the console instead of the emulator. LPing up an emulator is just much more convenient if you can get it to work. Except for the, you know, I'll run into problems possibly with the sound and maybe with lag, but if this is the biggest problem I have, which is that these underwater boss battles look goofy, it does look really, he's looking over his shoulder at this boss, also looking away from him. It's like, you know, you go in the corner, you just be quiet and think about what you've done. No, I'm apparently picking the fight here because I attacked first. He was willing to just walk away. I already seem to be in trouble. But you'll find out with this one, all of his attacks take off, they're physical attacks, but they basically have the demi effect, except that it's like super demi. He cuts your hit points in half every time he attacks you. So this is another plot battle that you're not meant to really be able to lose. Well, you'll see in a minute. You don't really win either. You just fight him 2 turns and then the plot kicks in again. Sort of not sure why they bothered to make you go 2 rounds of them, because all that can really happen is you can potentially waste items. But whatever. Whoa. You don't really have any items that are so expensive that it's a big deal to waste them at this point anyway. I tend to be a real skinflint with items, though. And you die. Game over. Very short game, but still, I told you, it was my favorite ending of all time. Tidus getting eaten by a big fish thing that punches away half of your life with every blow. Try as it might, it can't suck you up. And a rock slide or something seems to save you. So basically, at this point, the game has just been
out of the frying pan and into the freezer.
Tidus bouncing around from location to location.
I thought I was gonna die in this place.
Being lost and making quips. Matter of fact, I still think that. I'm still here. The entire game seems to be narrated by Tidus from some undisclosed point in the future. I think that eventually stops, so I'll have to pay attention. Like, specifically to that. Because he does tend to, like, events unfold, and then he'll talk about it like it's the Wonder Years, and he's like, this is the point where I knew that Winnie Cooper and I wouldn't be together, and she would always remain the love of my childhood, my symbol of female perfection. But she and I together was not to be. Yeah, that kind of thing. Tidus does that a lot. It's kind of like Final Fantasy, the Wonder Years instead of the After Years. Get it?
Coal.
I could really use some cold.
Need fire.
He's become Beavis. So, the game hasn't really started yet. We'll save our game again, but at this point we're still kind of in a tutorial. It's like a plot tutorial, though. The basics of how you level up your character, I mean, at this point we're not gaining experience as far as I know. None of that stuff's kicked in yet. It's just kind of plotty. We can examine something in here, and it would appear to be flint. We obtained flint. Now, together with flint, we can go stand up on like a big hilltop and get blown away by Cobra's guns. Little reference to the G.I. Joe Choose Your Fate books that a certain individual has been reading, who shall remain nameless. I suppose there's a small chance he's still watching this. It is, after all, the 1,000 subscriber special. Some withered flowers have been left here. They have soaked up too much rainwater to serve as tinder. I wonder if that elf here will detect that I'm talking about him if I don't use his name. He seems to detect when I'm talking about him otherwise. With his necromantic bullshit magic. Obtained ether. You say ether, and I say either. I guess we should actually examine that big red X on the map screen before I go solving the puzzle. I should buy a valve first. This is not exactly a Zork game, don't get worried. The remains of a campfire. Kind of looks like a voodoo doll. To start a fire, you need some kind of flammable tinder. I believe, had I not already found the flint, it would have told me I needed to find flint, too. Basically, this is not a puzzle, per se. You simply wander around and search, or wander around and wait for the instruction to examine, until you find all the items that it says it needs. Withered bouquet. Apparently this one has not soaked up too much rainwater, so we can use it. But while we're up here, we might as well look up here. This would be liberating. I could do a speed run of the first section of the game, because I know that I'm going to be pulling up a save point where, you know, optional shit, talking to people to obtain high potions or whatever, all I've already done. I also happen to know that I bought shitloads of potions in my save state slot game. For those of you who are already in the know, I loaned money to Owaka so that I could get good prices from him, and then while grinding for sphere points, I also bought a bunch of items from him when he was in discount mode. So for the rest of you, this is all like mysterious, like, items? Grinding? What are these things you are speaking of, JG? Yeah. Keep it up, Tidus. You do it. You don't have a choice in the matter, though. Pretty much gonna freeze to death if you don't like the fire. That'll give you a good incentive to figure out that Boy Scout shit in a hurry. Although I suppose being a trained Boy Scout would help in this situation. You must search this area until you find a pillow. Otherwise, you will get neck cramps. Yeah.
I need food.
He needs food. We need to end the video, but oh shit, I can't. Not unless I can pause it. And I don't think I can pause it in the cinema like this, can I?
What do you want?
I need food.
It was a bad call. Your team lost because of you.
You're a loser.
You came to
You
say
suck. And I need
It's
food.
been 10 years. I thought you'd be crying.
Who? Me?
You cried.
What the f- Little purple boy just appears to taunt you because you cried 10 years ago when... I don't know this for sure. Well, actually, I do know. But I would think, watching this, having never played the game before, if I was really thinking hard about each individual plot point, I would assume that what happened 10 years ago is that your dad disappeared. Because that seems to be the only event from Tidus's past that we're aware of at all. So, Orin appears 10 years after your dad disappears and was like, "You suck. You suck at underwater soccer. Also, I was expecting to find you crying. Oh, my dad disappeared 10 years ago." And then a purple kid appears and taunts you because you cried at the time. I don't know how old Tidus is, but typically JRPG heroes are 16 or you know, within a year of that, one way or the other. Which means he was presumably 6 when his dad disappeared forever, and he cried, and purple children just appear from the ether to taunt him about that. Doesn't seem fair. Anyway, I gotta avoid overanalyzing these cinemas because I do have... I'm trying to treat this like I'm not expecting my viewers to already know the story, even though, you know, many of you probably already do. But I, of course, have actually beaten the game and know what most of these cinemas are about, so I'll try not to do that too much in the future. But I just find it odd that this little purple-robed boy appears out of the mist, shimmering with magical powers, and it's like, you cried when your daddy left you forever. And then he disappears again. And that Tidus tends to think about this when he's stranded in an unknown place, freezing to death and starving. He reflects back on, man, I'm a real puss. Back when I was 6, I cried when my dad disappeared forever. I don't know. Anyway, folks, we'll pick it all up in the next video. This has been Mysterious JG. Thanks for watching. By the time the next video is through, hopefully the game proper will have started. We'll find out next time. Bye-bye.